Okay, good morning. Here we go, end of another week. So that's gone fairly quick, hasn't it? Especially being a bank holiday weekend as well. So, what I want to do obviously is go through the normal stuff that we go through. So we go through some answers, make sure you're all okay with those, and then we need to have a look at the following week's work, and then just have a conversation really about what's going on in terms of exams and things like that. Okay, so question number one then from the previous week's work is that we're looking for something called an AAV and what an AAV is. So it's an air admittance valve. It's fitted then in terms of a stub stack, which is part of answer number 2. So it's fitted in terms of a stub stack, and it's to allow obviously air in but not air back out, which obviously makes perfect sense because you don't want foul smells coming back out. If you fit them outside, it'll work in reverse, so don't bother, it's not a good idea to do so. So an AAV, air admittance valve, lets the air in but stops air coming back out perfectly to work well with the stub stack. Okay, number 2 then is the stub stack itself. So yeah, you terminate with an AAV, we've got that cleared. But where would we fit it? Well, in some cases there might very well be an internal stack, so it's never going to be an external thing you're going to be doing. Internal stack more than likely, might be for an ensuite or something similar. And what we tend to do with these, and you might have seen this in some of your work, and I think some of you put it in, so thanks for this, is that you terminate it 1 metre above the spillover level. So your highest point would be a washhand basin, which would make sense because it's 800 off the floor. And then you measure up from the actual overflow level 1 metre up, and that's where it can be terminated. It can be terminated higher, it can be terminated into a loft space if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that because you're going to get airflow in a loft space. So providing you've still got some airflow, it's acceptable. Okay, so that's where your stub stack's going to be used. So thank you for your illustrations that you sent as well. It's really, really good. Question 3 then is the waterless traps. So you've probably seen these now. Thank you for the people that sent me the work in for that. Thank you for the diagrams as well. Really good, makes perfect sense. So why and where do we fit them? Well, why are they there? They're to stop any. They're an anti-vacuum trap basically. So they're a waterless version of an anti-vacuum trap. Why would I fit them? Well, I might decide to fit them for argument's sake if I'm going to get induced siphonage taking place. That would be an option. I could fit a water version trap of it and it'd be a lot cheaper. But they're there if we want to. What else? Why else might I fit it? It might be a customer's recommendation or specification. It'd be highly unlikely, but some people do. They investigate what they might want in their property, etc., and that's what they wanted to put in. So it's a waterless trap. And how does it work? Water goes through the trap. There's a membrane on the inside that opens up, allows water flow through, and then once the water flow is gone, it closes the membrane back up, and this therefore stops any smells coming back in. So they're called HEP-VO valves because Hepworth were the main manufacturers, and they're only based very close near Woodville, Burton area, Hepworth, believe it or not. So they are actually quite a local trap. So there we go. Okay, and then the scenario. This has stumped a few people, which is, I'm not surprised because it's an awkward one, and a lot of you come to me and said, oh, it's evaporation, and I can see your logic behind that. Some of you said there's blockages, there's all sorts of things, and I get your logic, it makes perfect sense. So if I said the word capillary reaction, let's see if that makes sense. So capillary reaction in a trap could be hair of some description. Now obviously people sometimes wash hair in basins. It clearly isn't my problem, but people wash hair in basins, a bit of hair gets trapped in there, and over a period of time the hair soaks water up from one side to the other and takes the water away from the trap, and that's where the smells come from. It can happen, does happen. If there's a lot of hair, to be fair, it just blocks up. And that's normally the 9 out of 10 case. But sometimes there can be something that just soaks the water up and pulls it out the other side of the trap. So it's quite a rare fault that I've given you, but I hope that makes sense to you. So capillary reaction is the answer to that scenario that's been bugging some people. Okay, so we go on to the next week's set of work. So we're at the end of sanitation. This is the point where we would obviously be taking an exam and we'd be ready to do so. I think our exam was pre-scheduled before we had an Easter break. I think we were just on the Friday, so there's not a lot we can do about that at the minute. So in terms of exams, this will be the point where, yes, you would be taking exams in terms of the contents we've covered. So, what do we need to do? So we've got the Socrative done, and you've answered sets of questions on Socrative. So I've seen the scores. There's some very good scores. There's some people who had more than one go. Great, nothing wrong with that. Perfect. And they've obviously got a high percentage. But all those areas that are on Socrative are the areas that you'd need to revise. So what the document you've made for me, that document is going to be your revision guide plus the book that you've got or the free BPEC book you've got. You can use that alongside obviously the Socratives, and that will prepare you for the exam. So you do need to keep refreshed on that. So I'll make sure there's sets of questions available just to keep you topped up to make sure you're okay. Okay, the next unit we're going to go on to is communicating with others. So again, it's a pretty straightforward exam to do, but you do need to put some work in to get it done. Okay, so something I'd normally deliver in maybe a week for you guys, and we'd be taking the exam for example, Group B, we'd be doing it on a Thursday, Group A, we'd be doing it on a Friday, so it'd be pretty straightforward to get done. So I'm going to give you some roles and responsibilities of people that work in construction, and I want you to find out what they do and who do they work for. So the first one is an architect. What do they do, but who does he work for? Okay, so the architect's the easy one. QS, a quantity surveyor, same questions again. What do they do and who do they work for? 2 key points. Then I want you to find out what a charge hand is. Again, what do they do and who do they work for? And the last one at the minute is a project manager. What do they do and who do they work for? So you've got architect, quantity surveyor, charge hand, and a project manager. There are more to follow in the following week's videos that are coming up, but they're the 4 I want you to start with. Okay. The second part to it then is some forms and documents and terms we have to use. So the first one is, should I say, is the bill of quantities. What is the bill of quantities? Why do we use it? Where is it used? Then I'd like you to find me 4 different types of building plans. So as a starting point, I'll give you the first one. Let's say an isometric plan, which is a 3D picture of a building front, rear and elevation. So I need you to find the others for me. So that's 4 different types of building plans. Again, use Moodle. The information is on Moodle to answer questions 1 and 2. That's including who does what in terms of roles, and question 2 in terms of forms and documents. So please use Moodle. Okay, and then the third thing I want you to do, I'm going to release some questions on Socrative again. Again, please have a go at these. There again is look for communication with others. You know what the room name is anyway now, so you've used it a number of times. Make sure you go in there and have a go at the questions. Okay, so there you've got your list of things that you've already done now in terms of answers, and then you've obviously got the work that we need you to do. So a little bit on the terms of exams and what's going on in terms of our industry. You're probably aware that Ofqual are releasing some information. It's not determined what's going to happen and what we're doing. The way that I'm approaching it is we need to be in a position where we can just go and take some exams, and what I mean by that is when you think about it logically, we could be asked to go back in at any point to take exams to get finished. So please make sure the work is done and you keep up to date with these exams. Okay, it's vitally important you are ready at a bit of a short notice to go and do these exams. That's why it's so important. Okay, so take care of yourselves, take care of your family, stay safe, and I'll see you later.